All right, I have back with me the great Buffalo Bartlett, Jason Bartlett from South Africa. He came to America. I don't know exactly when he came to America, but I had him back, I believe, in February of this year. And he was walking from Texas, a town in Texas, to Washington, D.C. to meet with the president. I'm going to ask him how that trip went. I know I did see him in D.C. giving a little talk to Periscope and updating us on what's going on. I don't know if he was able to meet with the president or any politicians or any of their staffers. So I'm going to talk with him just for 15 minutes here, maybe a little bit more. And any questions that you may want to ask, super chat me, because those are more likely to get my attention, guys. And in the meantime, let's talk with the great Jason Bartlett. Jason, how are you doing?
James, I'm doing well, thanks to yourself. Great to hear from you again. You look healthy, you look good, you look blessed, even in this crazy time and this crazy year, right?
Yeah, you as well. How is it going?
It's going very well. I've now moved from Texas. I moved to Arkansas, and I'm now finished and staying in Alabama, in Huntsville. And I'm absolutely loving it. I'm enjoying the cold. I'm no longer walking or cycling anymore. As you know, I was walking, and then the political virus came along, and then I paused for a while, and then I did the rest of the walk I did on a bicycle, camping alongside the road, in a tent and so forth, and just looking for people who were willing to help me with a Trump hat on an American flag. And you will actually find it very relieving that most states people absolutely loved me.
That's cool, man. You know, it's funny, you called it the political virus. I caught that. Did you guys catch that? And that's a nice word for it, because I feel that it's kind of, you know, in the 50s or 60s or whenever it happened, we had what the media calls the Red Scare with regard to communism. And I think that McCarthy was right. I forget what his first name was, Joseph or Joe or whatever, McCarthy. And I think he was right about the communists. And I think that they've won. And this is another aspect of it. It's a political virus. It's I call it this Chinese/commie virus. The communists here in America are every bit as enemies of America as the Chinese communists. So you're making a great point. That's very true what
you're saying. Because Lenin and Stalin actually said that communism will come to America and the Americans will accept it open-heartedly. And that's exactly what's happening. If you take a look, I think it's 41% of people under 25 years old in our universities are saying communism is the way to go. And that's how they are busy stealing America, is by the fact that they attacked the nuclear family and they attacked the universities. They're going for our minds, and they've taken the masculinity and they've made it poisonous, and they've messed up the entire nuclear family, exactly like Black Lives Matter openly persists to do. And they've become very successful, because we might be prepared for a physical war, but we did not prepare for the mental war. I've seen that in South Africa, and South Africa is 25 years ahead of America in one thing, and that is in corruption and in communism.
Yeah, it's wild, man. You mentioned something. Oh, about how Lenin and Stalin pointed out, predicted what's happening in America. That is so true. I used to think, when I was first starting to pay more attention to politics, that the liberals, and I think I'm right about the useful idiot liberals, really don't understand human nature, that if you spoil people, they'll just stop being productive generally. And this crying of racism isn't based in reality. Most people who are crying racism, they don't think of their own minds as being unjust minds. They don't really check themselves. They're too busy accusing their political opponents of this racism thing. But I think actually that the evil, or these people who are in this leadership position, many of them, they know human nature all too well, and they exploit the weakness of it. And as you said, they debased the family and got rid of the morals. And so now we have whole mobs of people who are pushing for the destruction of America. It's a shame.
And It's all based on hedonism and feeling,
Yeah.
how I feel and how I feel about this and I feel about that. Yeah, because I mean, America, I come from South Africa. I know what racism is from all angles, from black and white, from all angles. I know what racism is. And I can tell you very open-heartedly that America is the least racist country in the world, especially the Christians. They are so accepting. If you go to the churches, I mean, for goodness sakes, for 8 years, you had a black president. I mean, how racist is
To
America?
our
It
shame.
really is it's such a fabricated piece of nonsense that they're poisoning our minds. But the fact is that they've got, they always talk about the mark of the beast and this and that. Look at your telephone. Your telephone is worth so much evil that it's just bombarded. If you Google something, it comes all over the next day. If you Google it, you've been pitched it, you've been sold it. They literally
Right.
are selling us day by day, and they're breaking us down. And it's very sad to see it in America. However, it is also something we have to know is that you have to have your faith and you got to believe in God, because if you don't, you are going to be set in a very, very deep depression if Biden is actually able to steal this election and stay alive for more than 5 months. Because my call is he's probably going to die from coronavirus, and then they're going to say, well, the president of the free world has died from coronavirus. Let's shut everything down so we can control you more. That's how it goes.
Interesting, man. You used to hear, and you still hear it sometimes, that they say liberals are the real racists. I used to think, blacks are the real racists because they're encouraged to all constantly cry racism and be all caught up in their race to their own detriment. And I see it happening in America and in South Africa. Like, they fall for this communism thing, and this racism thing, to me, it's so phony because these people who are really hating white people or hating everybody else, they don't love each other either. They're killing each other like crazy over in South Africa.
Yeah, they are. I mean, the whole fabrication of racism has really become pathetic because they know there's no solution for racism.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. So if I look at you've got different color hair towards me. My beard's a little bit longer. Sorry. But if I look at you, everything is different. If I look at Jesse, he's a black man. If I look at Barack Obama, he's not as black as another black man. We're not ideologies. I mean,
Right.
we're not. We are individuals. You've got a different opinion to mine. It might not be 110% exactly the same because we are individuals, and they've taken that individualism away. And that's what we've got to strive for, our actual freedoms to be ourselves, to be exactly who we are and not who they portray us to be, because they've drawn a line and tried to make us racist, and the same as they've tried to make blacks hate whites and whites hate blacks. And then all of a sudden a black person can't be racist. Meanwhile, in South Africa, they walk around doing this to you. If you're white, they call you white scum. They spit on you.
Wow.
They murder you. They butcher you. And, nothing gets said about it because blacks can't be racist. It's not about color. It's about right and wrong, and that's wrong.
That's true. I watch every now and then I catch videos from Willem Petzer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a South African, a Boer over there in South Africa, and he's been talking about, last month or two, he talked about how they're burning land, and it was after singing about burning the Boer, and it's just crazy. Boers are the white natives, by the way, the white people who were the founders of the South African country, I believe.
Exactly. The reason that the country is as powerful as it was, it's now been stolen to the core because, everybody has to get free stuff, socialism. Everybody gets everything for free, and then the money just falls out of the trees and nobody has to work. Everybody just has to be happy. And they've stolen absolutely everything. But the Boer people are really suffering due to the fact that the EFF and the ANC go out and sing songs, let's burn the land, and then they go burn the land. It's not even hidden anymore. That's the scary part, and then everybody just gets bombarded. Oh, it's a conspiracy. The crimes aren't that much. What about the black people getting murdered? I'm like, yes, there's an atrocious amount of black people being murdered. Why are you proud of that? Why are you proud that there's more blacks than whites murdered? You should be distraught that every 3 seconds there's a woman raped in South Africa. I mean, you should be distraught. It should hurt you. It shouldn't matter about the color. And to me, it doesn't matter about the color, but it it does matter that my people are dying. The same way as an American stands up for an American, I stand up for a white South African. I've stood up for black South Africans, and I don't think it's right. They go out and they brutally torture these people by gouging their eyes out, raping their infants in front of the parents, and then leaving the parents alive so that they're scared so that they sell the farm and the farm's not worth money, and then they burn the farm down to instill fear into us. This is exactly what Stalin did. And these leaders aren't stupid. They are smart, and they are probably run by white people. So it's not about blacks. It's about hating evil that is on top of this. And that's what we got to get to the core. These Bill Gates and these George Soroses, these evil people that are rotten to the core, that are condemned to hell, not by my word, but by the Lord God's word. And we got to get to the core. We got to stand up. It's the same as if you go to church and you take a look at the churches that I've gone to. People are scared of each other. They're sitting 6 feet apart. They've got no masks. I mean, ye of little faith, what is wrong with you? You've got to stand up for yourself. You can't just be taken away. I mean, people driving around with a mask in their car, for goodness sakes. I saw a pilot this morning. I'm at an airport right now. I saw a pilot flying with a mask on.
Wow, that's terrible.
I mean, come on, James, what's happening over here?
You know, it feels like at least it might have been 2 years ago, or maybe more, maybe even 3 years ago, that President Trump tweeted, it feels like it was November of 2017, but I could be wrong, that President Trump tweeted about the situation in South Africa, the farm murders, and the land expropriation without compensation. And he tweeted that he's instructing his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, to look into it. What's your grade on how Pompeo has done in looking into it? Have you heard any update about it?
We've heard absolutely no update about it. And the state of South Africa is so bad that everybody jumped on that tweet, and they thrived off it because finally someone said something. And nothing has happened. And I find that sad, but it also shows to me that there's powers that are within this country that are really detrimental to South Africa. You've got someone like called Busting the Myth of White Genocide, who just attacks anybody who stands up for the farmers being murdered or any white person being murdered, and they scream and they shout and they really admire when these farmers are murdered. They post about it and say that this is on purpose, but for a reason, and they deserve it. And it was in 2018, I believe it, in November, that when he tweeted this, and people thrived off of it. They needed to hear this. They needed to know that someone's looking. But the problem is nobody's looking, and they already know. Like when I walked 1,057 miles. Then I stopped because of the political virus. And then I cycled 1,350 miles. In total, with training, I did 4,557 miles. And so I was relatively fit. I'm still fit. But I got to the White House. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet with President Donald Trump due to political, as well as if he's seen with someone from South Africa of my color, he will be considered and bombarded as a racist, as he always is, because that's all he is in the weak eyes of people that don't like freedom and they love communism. And I did hand over certain papers with all the details that I acquired from all the people supporting me, because I had hundreds of thousands of people supporting me. I still do, and I really do appreciate that. And I've given them those details, and they said to me they accept it with open arms, but most of the information they already know. So America, as well as President Donald Trump, I know knows on a personal level. He knows exactly what's happening in South Africa, but I'm sure his hands are tied for now. But I do believe that there will be an intervention, because if there's no intervention within the next year or two, there's going to be complete annihilation and destruction.
You know, here in America, there are many on our side who support the president, who some of them feel betrayed by the president because he tweeted about stuff going on here, the attack on true speech, the attack on free speech, the attack on whites, the Antifa attacking us, the social media companies going out of control. He said he's monitoring the situation, and people mock him for that because nothing has happened with it. How are you still supporting the president? Because I know you do. I know I do. Even though he hasn't been able to come through, all he's been able to do is tweet about these problems and not seemingly do anything that we've seen.
You know, James, on a personal level, I know exactly how President Donald Trump feels because, for example, I take myself, I was very determined that I walked over 2,000 miles to go and see the president. And it was my will to see him, but obviously it wasn't God's will and it wasn't the right time because of coronavirus. And I understand that. So it's what I wanted and I wanted to do it. And I did everything in my personal power to do that, but it wasn't the right timing. Did he find out? Yes. And Trump knows exactly what is going on. And yes, he wants to change it. But people need to realize that this is not a very, let's say, shallow amount of corruption. Within America, there's a deep, huge burden of corruption in this government. And it's very blatant. So he's fighting against his own people that are trying to control this country. Like you look at Pelosi, and those people are third in control, third in charge, and they openly and blatantly call him a racist and a liar. The problem is not with Trump. He is trying to solve something, and a person has to stick with someone like that. You have to support him. He's tried his heart out. He's done so many good things. Look at him. He's 70-something years old, 74, 73 years old. He's not a young man anymore, and he's given absolutely everything. He gave up $1 billion empire to rule the free world. He gave up his salary to rule the free world. He's pushed and he's given everything. All we have to give him is a thank you and get behind him and try stop the stolen election, because there's no ways that Biden, who sat in his basement, got more votes than Barack Obama from the black population and the world. It's absolutely atrocious what is happening over here. And the world, there's a lot of people that support Donald Trump. Yeah. But this is a good year because this is the time where we say, okay, this might backfire and we might not win the election. It might get stolen. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you give up.
Right.
Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee, all these people, when they went down, you get back up. You go look at the movie of Rocky, you get back up. Nice. And that's what you got to do. If you get a punch in the face, you go down, you get back up, and you got no front teeth. Who cares what other people think about you? It's what's in your heart, and you got to fight and go forward.
Appreciate that. Very good input, Jason Bartlett. Were you able to meet? I know that you met with apparently staffers at the White House. How about staffers from anybody in Congress or anywhere else that you were able to meet while on your trip to D.C.?
There was somebody in Congress that I've handed over paperwork to, just for safety reasons, myself and them. I don't give out too much information. There's too much political turmoil. I have been asked countless times. There's a handful of us who know I can't make it public. I have been asked not to. I did state that I will make it public once I can, but I do still have a team that's fully working on it. I'm actually working now. I'm not doing so many videos and so forth. I also need a spiritual break and a personal break, because it is very detrimental to one's soul. And that's why I respect you guys so much, because you hammer on it the whole time. But that's what we need. We need fighters like you and Jesse and many of the other people, because it's not nice to see the good people collapse. But you know what? Just get up and be stronger. I have handed over paperwork, and I do have a business plan still intact. I've been given the go-ahead to do it. But obviously, this is a political turmoil and a political crisis at the moment, so we have to wait and be patient. A lot of people will die between now and the time when I make the announcement or I find out more, but I can't help that, because I'm not Christ, I'm not God, so I still put my hope and my faith in God, and I hope and pray that he protects Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump does lose because of the stolen election, we must still stand together as Christians and as supporters and support this great country, because this is a great country.
Yeah.
And President Donald Trump did try and make it great again. In a lot of ways he did. And Biden won't keep it great. But you know what? We've got to take those 4 years and we come back and we defeat them properly, and we take over the Senate and the House, and we make sure that we make America great again.
I have 10 minutes left, because I want to keep you no more than 30 minutes. I know that you have work to do and stuff like that. I have a caller for you who would like to talk with you. And a quick question before I get to her, though. There's a lot of division. Like, there's a big problem with division in the church. There's a lot of fake Christians. There's a lot of division amongst the people here in America who are either Republican or conservative or want to stop this attack upon whites, upon men, upon Christianity, upon America. But there's a lot of division and suspicion and backbiting. Are you guys running into the same thing among the people who are fighting back against the attack on the whites and the attack on true justice over in South Africa amongst fellow South Africans?
My friend, this is just deja vu for me. That's why I can handle it so easily here in America, because I've seen exactly what happens there. Our problem is the media, our own people just fight against each other. Once, for example, myself, I do well for myself, and then I say to them, okay, I've walked, 2,000 something miles. I've been on InfoWars, I've been on Jesse's show, I've been on your show, I've been on Fox, I've been on every thing I could have done. I've gave up so many months and months, and all the money I had, I gave up for this just because God put it on my heart. And then someone says to me, how on earth can you start working if you haven't finished this? I'm like, well, it's unfortunately the parasite is within our own people as well, the same as it is here. And that's what we really need to defeat. We really need to look at the chip in our own eye, the plank in our own eye, before we look at the chip in others. And people don't tend to do that because they've lost faith. This is the time to turn to God and really, really give him our all and ask him, you know what? Look at the mess we've got ourselves into, because we worshipped you, we followed you. We founded this great country, South Africa and America, on your word, and then we took your word out of it. Now they're trying to teach our little 6-year-old children about homosexual sex when you're 6 years old. The time has not come, in 5 years' time we're going to stand up. We've already missed the mark where we should have stood up. Yep. And that's why, for example, I don't wear a mask where I go. I don't do certain things because they just take little bit by little bit by little bit. So I stand against it because I know I've seen it with my own eyes. I might only be 33 years old, and that's why the media tries to silence me, because they know this is not what I've heard, this is what I've seen. And I'm going to stand up for America, and I'm going to fight for the United States while I'm here, because I can't go back to my own country. I will be murdered very, very quickly, as you know, because I've stood up against it. But I'm here, and I will fight very, very hard for you and for myself, for Jesse, and for President Donald Trump, and all true patriotic Americans.
I appreciate it, Jason Bartlett. Do you have time for a few minutes for a caller? Yep. All right, Maze in Dayton, Ohio would like to talk with you. Maze,
yes,
what's up?
James.
Hey.
We hear him trying to tell how South Africa, could he give the real history of South Africa, and before he stepped in to take over the diamonds and all the different things that they have that was possessed by the Zulu tribe and the Zulu people, and what happened to them, and when they took over, could he give a history of that? And if he can, that'll explain some of the stuff that he's spouting out about, but he won't give you that history. He will have
well, give him a chance. Give him a chance.
I'll happily give you that.
Can I finish?
Yeah,
James, give him a microphone.
First of all, I'm 33 years old.
When they took over,
South Africa's not that old. It's much older than 33 years old.
That's not what I'm saying.
Hold on, Maze. You asked, can he give a history of the real history?
Can he explain the history, how it started? Yes, the real history.
He's giving the history.
No,
yes, in 1652, the Dutch settlers arrived there, and there were only people called the Khoisan. The Zulus actually came in the 1700s, so we didn't steal anything from the Zulus. So just know a little bit of your history before you come and try to bombard me with fake news.
How did they lose their property?
In 1652, they arrived, and in the 1700s, the Zulus, the very, very evil Zulus who massacred their own people, they did arrive and they did come there. And they actually still got part of their place. It's called KwaZulu-Natal, and that's always been part of their country. South Africa was not a racist country. They had to do certain racial things due to the fact that there were savages out there killing people.
What kind of
and now
look,
it's back in those, it's back in the racist hands now. And now look at the people that are being murdered. They're murdering their own black people, and they're murdering the white people. So the whole fabrication of racism is non-existent. So we actually need to get over that lie. The same as I've never owned a slave. I hope you've never owned a slave.
I ain't asked you nothing about no slave. I asked you what happened. They had to do
Africa country already.
What were the dirty things they had to do?
The history is in 1652. The white natives of South Africa who bartered for the countries actually arrived there before the Zulus. So don't mention the Zulus and the diamonds again, because the Zulus were still wearing little pieces of cloth in front of them and couldn't dig for the diamonds. We actually dug for the diamonds, invented all the things to get the diamonds out.
That's your problem. When we don't want to deal with it, and you don't know what happened with slavery, you don't know what happened with doing Jim Crow, and all those things to come and try to tell people, go sit down somewhere with that and explain what happened to Africa, and then people will look at you like, what's wrong with him? Go sit down somewhere at 30 years old.
Okay, why don't you tell me the history of South Africa, please? I'm sure you've been there. I'm sure you know all the history.
I am telling you.
Thank you, Maze. Maze, you're nasty. You're really nasty.
I'm just telling the truth, sir. It's better to tell the truth.
May the fear of God come over your heart, and may your eyes open, and may His eyes shine upon you.
My last words to you and James is stop getting upset. Stay happy with your rhetoric. James, it's the last word to you. If God got something to do with it, Biden is going to be taking his seat the 20th of January.
Whatever, Maze. Thank you.
So, yeah, and I will talk to you. Until then, I will just sit back and let it relax with these people losing their mind, just like this one you got on as a guest.
Do you love the white South Africans, Maze?
What?
Do you love the white South Africans?
Do I love what? What does love got? Y'all don't love
the
nobody.
White South Africans. Well, never mind y'all. What about you?
I don't know any. I know some. I know some. I know
you
some
know
black
one right
South
now.
Africa, and I do know the history. Y'all want to feed people with evil. Evil, just purely evil. We had a black president for 8 years, and what about it?
He was the worst.
And you don't like when y'all always come with this ignoramus stuff that when Obama was president, y'all hated Obama, but always somebody hated Trump. I did not hate Trump. I hated the things that he did.
Hey, Mace. Jason Bartlett asked you to please wear a mask when you talk to him because he can feel the hatred coming out of your breath.
Well, no, he needs to wear a mask when he's not talking to anybody because that's what he's doing, a mask, walking around with this rhetoric. I don't know who's paying him for him to even be over here putting out this foolishness. So if you explain, what happened to Africa, you explain why they want their land back.
Thank you, Maze. Nice talking with you.
That's why, and you just put that down and give that history to. If you do, people will wonder if you're crazy. Have a good one.
All right, you too. She really seems to get frustrated when white Americans or white South Africans, white people in general, talk freely or tell the truth. And she seems to.
You know what Maze really is? She's a racist.
Yeah, she does hate white people, that's for sure.
Hey, Maze, please don't be racist.
Well, I appreciate it. Any last words for us, Jason Bartlett?
Hey, but like I said, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a blessing, and I hope to see you again shortly. I do have a few announcements that will be coming in January, February, and even if Biden does manage to steal this election and people like Maze will be all fanatically happy, don't let it, do not fret because God is still in control. And hopefully America will not become like South Africa because of people like you and me standing up for our freedoms. And just know, America, that I have got your back. I will support you with every last breath I have, whether it comes to guns, whether it comes to love, I will be there right beside you. So God bless all of you. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute blessing, and I will see you all soon.
And quickly, I know we can find you at Buffalo Bartlett on Twitter and Periscope. Do you have any other outlet that you want people to know about?
The best one is at Buffalo Bartlett on Twitter. There's I closed my website just because I was getting so much hatred because you can't stand up for freedom. Yeah. And I do have a Venmo account on there that still goes directly to my organization. But you can go directly onto my Twitter at Buffalo Bartlett. That is the best way. That's where I get my most words out, just like President Donald Trump does. Get the truth out. And I will be fighting there for you guys. So thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. Just find me at Buffalo Bartlett. And I will see you guys all soon.
Do you still have your YouTube channel, or was it shut down or anything?
Oh, it was shut down, I think 8 times. Wow. But don't worry, I'll get it up and running again shortly. I'm just trying to find my feet. I've only been here for about 3 weeks. In about 2 months' time, I'll probably start my own YouTube channel and hopefully have you and Jesse on there as well.
Nice. All right. Good luck to you, Buffalo Bartlett. Take care, Jason.
Cheers, James. Bye.
All right.
God bless.
You as well. Bye. Appreciate that. Wasn't that nice, guys? Buffalo Bartlett on Twitter.